In the episode, our undercover journalist narrated how she flew out of Uganda to Saudi Arabia. Tonight, she narrates her flight and arrival in Riyadh. Two things made her uncomfortable throughout their movement from the hostel in Kulambiro to the airport and finally out of the country. One was the fake documents they were given. They had COVID-19 PCR test results, which they did not do. COVID-19 vaccine card books, which they also did not take. The second discomfort was the expected embarrassment, as almost all the girls had never used an airplane before. About an hour after checking in, they boarded Egypt Air, flight number MS-838. First of all, the excitement and the noise started as the girls ran towards the plane and struggled for seats. They tried to explain that the struggling for seats doesn't help because each one had her own seat number, but they could not listen. Others blatantly refused to leave the seats they had grabbed, and the air hostesses tried and failed to redirect them. They just gave up. The good thing was that the plane was dominated by girls going for Cheyo, over 150, with other girls from Absolute Labour International, Greener Pastures, Tusano, and Al Faizo. Only 6 people were private travelers. So, the embarrassment stopped at the plane staff and the 6 passengers. In one case, an Egyptian air hostess was trying to shift one of the girls from where she had sat to her proper seat, but the girl didn't know what the problem was and didn't leave enough English and didn't have enough English to be edified. Girls were not complying to any instructions. They were shouting when the safety instructions were played. They remained on WhatsApp when an order to switch off internet was given, and some were standing to have a better view when the plane was airlifting. It was a night flight, and so there wasn't much to see below. So her colleagues chose to break into song praising God for the final breakthrough. One girl started it, and soon the plane was like a high school bus or school truck. When the food came, some asked for spoons, not seeing the plastic cutlery wrapped in the serviettes. Even removing the retractable tables was a problem. She was surprised that none of them were broken in the process. Some girls even asked for more food. They arrived in Cairo at 9 a.m. and new excitement of a big international airport started. There were lots of selfies with airport escalators, adverts, hanging lights, and whatever was new to the girls. Every girl who successfully perched on the moving steps was cheered like she had scored a goal. Those who failed and struggled to get off attracted more noise. Airport staff tried to direct the girls to the stairs. Instead. Other travelers must have been wondering where we were coming from. They arrived in Riyadh around 3 p.m. on May 29th. The flight is generally over a desert, and all you can see down is brown and sand. Even up to King Khalid International Airport in Riyadh, there isn't much to see except the desert. Riyadh is Saudi Arabia's capital and main financial hub. It is located on a desert plateau in the center of the country. There were as many agents at the exit of the airport as there were groups on the flights. They identified them by the names on our t-shirts or hijabs for those whose recruitment companies had insisted. The man who was supposed to receive them identified them easily. he gestured to them to step on the side, and his greeting was, "Give me your passport." He collected them according to their respective companies, Al Salman, Aleka, and Sami. Surprisingly, he gave the Al Salman passports to our undercover journalist to hold. The ones for Sami and Aleka he gave to another agent. He then told them to wait because there were other girls who were delayed in the airport belonging to two companies, Tusano and Uganda Limited. When they arrived, he handed them over to another man who had them all in a vehicle driven by a man who they later found out was Muhammad. Muhammad was a welcoming man, jovial and humorous. He asked them how to say "I love you" in Luganda. He was always wearing a smile. About 40 minutes after they left the airport, they entered Riyadh. Riyadh itself is an amorphous expanse of neighborhood sand, subdivisions bounded by wide roads lined with commercial strip development. There is no impression of desert in the city center, which had more green and flowers than Kampala. Riyadh is the capital and largest city of Saudi Arabia. It is one of the largest cities in Arabian Peninsula and is situated in the center of the An Nafud Desert. Muhammad stopped at Tusano offices where the girls belonging to the recruitment company got off. They continued to Al Salman offices, which were a distance out of the city. They reached Al Salman offices at about 5:30. According to her Google Maps, the area is known as Al Malka. It is in a large settlement area with several storied apartments covering the whole place. The settlement has a nicely paved ground, green grass, compound patches. Their apartment was one 3-storied building. The ground floor had the office on the left and on the right rooms for girls. In those rooms were Filipinos, Bangladesh, Sri Lankans and Indians. There were about 15 in number. They were given a separate room as new arrivals, all Ugandans. They were told that their employers had rejected them and now they were waiting to be resold. In the next episode, our undercover journalist narrates the beginning of her troubles in Saudi Arabia.